sand it down until I get the shape all dialed in. And the little shiny spots are gone, and that tells me that I've got it all the way down flush so the filler is finished. Now the epoxy always shrinks just a bit, and if I find a spot that's too low, I'll put some more in it. And I'm sanding with the grain whenever possible. One of the problems with a tote, why it breaks so easy, the grain runs this way. So it's weakest if you push it like that. So I'm not clamping this in a vise. It's awfully easy to overload the strength of the part when you've got it clamped in a vise and you're just reefing on it. It's a lot harder for me to push too hard against it when I'm doing it by hand. I still have a knob to repair, so I'm going to try and capture as much of this dust as I can so I can rebuild that knob. Some of you might ask, why am I going through all the trouble to rebuild this tote? Well, a couple of reasons. One, it's what I have. There's very little cost in repairing it, other than time. And I'm doing this because I like doing it, so the time really doesn't matter. The other thing is, this is rosewood. Now, the older Stanleys used the more exotic hardwoods for their totes. It's a nice dense wood, very strong, and now it's considered an endangered species because it's been logged out so heavily. So trying to get a piece of rosewood anymore is not as easy as it used to be. And if I save this one and bring it back to where it's workable again, there's no need to cut another rosewood tree just to make a tote to replace one that got damaged because of somebody's careless handling. When it comes to feeling the shape and doing the work on a little curvature like this, there's not much better tool than the human finger, because I can feel the shape of it and I can change the pressure to different parts of my finger almost without thinking. Got a tiny spot right there that was too deep for the filler to completely take care of. So I'm going to put a little bit more filler in there. And I'll do that while I'm repairing the knob. I'm going to use this half round rasp a little bit in here. rough out the general shape. There's still a pretty good low spot right here. Because of the way the grain's running, this section right here is actually in grain, so it doesn't much matter which direction I sand it in, as long as I'm consistent and careful not to put in too deep of scratches. The final hit with the 220 will take care of most of the scratches left by the 150. Probably would have worked better if I'd used something other than a paper towel. Paper towel held on to a lot of the sanding dust that I was trying to capture. I think I'm going to swap that out for a piece of plastic. Okay, I've got a spot there to fill. There's a low spot there that I've got to put some in. And I think I want to hit this just a little bit more. And that should take care of it. Rosewood dust. Two-part epoxy. This particular kind is Loctite Quick Set. Sets up in 5 minutes. Don't know. It says it's translucent yellow. It's kind of clearish, but the yellow doesn't bother anything because I'm tinting it brown anyways. Pop off the cap. Squeeze just a bit of it out. Don't want a lot. Just want to have enough to wet the dust. And I take my handy little tool that I've cut out of a piece of a cookie box and I stir in the dust. I've only got 5 minutes to get this stuff on, but I do want to get all the dust wet because I need to have it all wet so that it'll stick. And I have a little low spot in here that I need to put just a little bit on. And then I have a little low spot here. I got a chunk of something in there. And then I have a little spot here. And I want to make sure and smear that down into that hole, because I don't think I had it forced down into the crack well enough. I'm going to throw these gloves away, so I'm going to use the glove as the final application tool to make sure that I have a good coverage and fill in the hole like I want. That should do it. Now once again, it's a matter of letting it set and dry. And that's always my hardest thing to do. I always want to fiddle with it. My epoxy's setting up well over here. Now it's been more than 5 minutes and I'm sure it's set up according to the specs. But I found that the longer I give it, the tighter and harder it gets. And since I'm going to be sanding this off now and I really want to have this be a finished surface, I'm going to let it set till morning. I'll come down in the morning and polish that up and the tote for the number 4 plane will be finished. Then all I have to do is figure out what I'm going to do about this knob. Not exactly a happy camper. When this knob is held in place and it's secure, everything's fine. You get it a little bit loose and it allows it to, if it bumps into something, it allows it to rock up and put weight on the outer edge and the leverage will just split that weak grain right off of there. Pop, pop, pop. Now you'd think, well, we'll just turn it around. No, actually what you're trying to do when you're pushing on it is you're pushing on that knob, so you'll end up rocking the thing back and forth and wear it all out. So I need to repair the base of this knob, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it, whether I'm going to turn that down and put a ring of wood around it, or I don't know. Remains to be seen. 5 coats of boiled linseed oil. All cleaned up. Looks like we're good to go. This is the one off that Union plane. And this is the one off our friend the number 4. I like to put paste wax on my wooden objects. I think it makes them look nice. Adds a layer of protection that they wouldn't normally have. Boiled linseed oil is good stuff, it's just not waterproof. Whereas wax is. Well, in this case water resistant, but it does fill up the surface and give it a waxy coating, which is water resistant. Also just feels good. Now, these were repaired. They're in perfect working order. They will handle anything that a plane normally should have to deal with, no problem. But they're not new, they're restored. You can see that there's a crack line on them. I didn't try and hide it. I don't believe in that. I don't want to fool anybody. The only reason I put the stain in there is because I want them to look good. And the repair doesn't have to be obvious, but it should be something that you can tell people, yeah, I fixed that. You're not trying to con somebody. Anybody that does that, the idea that they're going to make a few extra dollars off of something, very short-term gain. Because you're never going to sell that guy anything else. If I'm going to put as much work into it as I am doing this, I want people to know, hey, that was fixed by Dave. I can trust him. Because I got a lot of labor into this. Now normally, if you were into this as a business and you wanted to sell planes, you'd probably sell them broken. Price doesn't go up that much when you fix them, at least if you do them honestly. Price doesn't go up that much, and you put a lot of work into it to make it nice. But since this is a plane for me, I want it to be nice. Anybody but a complete noob would look at this and go, well, that's been painted. It's not a new plane. It's got a patent date from April 19th, 1902. Blade still needs to be sharpened, but I'll take care of that after I get the plane fully assembled. Still have a knob to do. Well, it helps if I put the right screw in it. There we go.
Not necessary, but I like to have the screw lined up with the center line of the plane, at least as close as I can get it without cracking it. This knob, I've put some epoxy on the outside of it. I'm letting it set up and get hard. Then I'll come back and trim it up and mount that, and then I will be done with this plane. I've already cleaned all this stuff once and waxed it, but it doesn't hurt to go back over it again as long as I got the wax rag in my hand. That feels good. A lot of work, and you can certainly see the fixes done to it. The place where I welded it, well, the place where I silver soldered the piece back into it, the extra crack that happened as I was going through the process, the crack in the handle. But all in all, everything works. It all fits together well. It's a good solid plane again. And I have repaired a handle fixture. I have repaired 2 torches. I have repaired an oxyacetylene torch. And oh man, a tote, the base, the blade, cleaned up the chip breaker, cleaned up the frog, cleaned up, I've forgotten the name of this thing, but cleaned that up too. Put a whole lot of work into it, but when I'm done, I got a nice plane, and it's going to work great. This is a newer version. This is from sometime in the 40s, because you can tell by the plastic knob on the adjustment. It's also a different kind of casting. This casting is much thicker and heavier. It has a steel screw holding the knob on. It has, instead of having the slot and a hole like a keyhole, this one has a kidney bean shaped hole. Blades are still very similar. Part of that is because this one is a handyman blade. The blade that was in it is usable, but it's really pitted, and I didn't want to spend the time taking it down to get rid of the pits, because I'm pretty sure by the time I get done with that, I won't have much blade left. Done. Give you some comparison to what they were and what they are now. All 4 of these planes look like this one when they came in. Dirty, nasty, pitted. This one's got a broken knob on it. This one did too. This one's got a little break on the bottom of the knob. This one's still in pretty good shape, but it's a lot newer. Number 4, number 4, number 3, number 3. These are both from the 40s. These two carry the same patent dates, 1902 and 1910. This is Bailey number 4. That's a Bailey number 3. This is a number 4, and that's a number 3. When I get this one finished, I'm going to have an extra 3, and I've already got an extra 4 in the wings. So I imagine I'm going to be selling a couple of planes.